Welcome to the City of Life podcast. My name is Angelica, and with me we have Pastor Craig and Pastor Josh.
It's two of us.
Let's go. Let's
Yes.
go. We got 3 on the podcast today.
Yeah.
This is exciting for us.
It is super exciting.
First time.
And we're continuing this conversation about Christmas, right? And so Christmas is a stressful time of the year. It's a great time of the year. It's a season of celebration, but it can also be very stressful, right? There's parties to go to, things to do, people to see. I'm sure Christmas Eve and Christmas Day can be very, very busy.
Yeah, I got to move that elf on the shelf every night. That's like an extra thing now. Every day we got all this added chores and things.
Oh,
to make
so you guys do the elf on the shelf thing?
Christmas magic. Yeah, we're doing. This is our first year with elf on the shelf.
Oh, cool.
How's that going?
There's not as many places to put an elf as you would think when you first get the elf. You think, oh yeah, no problem.
Oh, I could only think of like 2 places.
So
I don't think I think that might be why we've never done it before, because the amount of jokes I would have and the places I would think of to put it, I'd be done by like night 2 or 3.
I put them on the cabinet, and now where?
Do you do like the little glitter trails?
No, we just move. Okay. His name is Jingle, and we just move him.
Jingle.
Does he jingle when he walks?
No, he doesn't.
Oh, goodness.
How do the kids, do they love it?
They love it.
That's cool. That's a fun tradition.
Yeah, but there's all that extra stuff you got to do at Christmas, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, you want it to be fun. You want it to be like magical, but also it's just, you have your other responsibilities. You have your day-to-day life that you're trying to manage all of it.
Yeah, and my wife is Cuban, and one of the things I love about Cuban households, Hispanic households, they're so connected to family. It's such a high value for family.
Yeah.
And what comes with that is, 8, 9, 10 Christmas parties, because everyone wants to do their own Christmas party. Sure. And then you got Noche Buena, and everyone wants to do a Noche Buena. And then one has it on actual Christmas Eve. And since the other family member can't do it on Christmas Eve because that party's happening, they'll do it on Christmas Eve. And it's like a whole week and a half of Christmas parties, which is fun. I mean, it's a blessing, but it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
So how do you handle all of those activities? Like, what do you do?
Yeah, so and that's what we're going to talk about today.
Okay.
I think is, when you enter into this season, like you said, it's a really fun season. It's a really joyous season. Everyone loves it. It's a great time of the year, and everyone wants to celebrate. Everyone wants to do something, and everyone is fighting for your attention. Mm-hmm. Everyone's got expectations on you. And so I think one of the things that comes to the surface for Melanie and I, my wife, as we talk through the Christmas season, we try to preemptively have that conversation. Okay, hey, what are the parties happening? As you hear about them, trying to get ahead of the game here. One of the things we've realized we need a healthy dose of all the time, but maybe more so in the Christmas season, is boundaries. Mm-hmm. Having a healthy boundary set in place for our own health, for ourselves, and to protect our Christmas season, because we do, in fact, want it to be a joyous, stressless season, as hard as that is to attain.
Stressless seems like it's impossible. That seems like that would never happen. Right? I feel like you can never, you're never going to eliminate all the stress, right? All the obligations, but trying to minimize that. Yeah.
Well, and stress is sometimes good, right? It's like it'll push you, hey, Christmas is coming, you got to get those presents, or hey, there's those parties happening, you got to plan for those parties. So that's our bodies telling us, hey, you've got to prepare for this. But when we sit in it and we don't start to set up healthy boundaries, then that stress and maybe even anxiety or frustration or bitterness, all those emotions can start to emerge out of that. And that's what it means to not have boundaries. Those emotions start to come out. So an incredible book on this subject, and obviously it's more zoomed out, Boundaries by Dr. Henry Cloud. It's not just about the Christmas season, it's in general, boundaries. Incredible book. He says this about it: boundaries define what is me and what is not me. It shows me where I end and someone else begins, leading me to a sense of ownership. He says, knowing what I am to own and take responsibility for gives me freedom. And it's talking about, he goes on to talk about Proverbs 4:23, about how we're supposed to keep and guard our hearts with all diligence. And that when we set up healthy boundaries, we know what's expected of us, and we know what's expected of other people, whether that be friends, neighbors, family members. And when you have that healthy boundary, you know how, okay, this is what I own, this is who I am, this is where my responsibility lies. Let's manage this. When that line is blurred, it gets really stressful. It gets really frustrating, and people start encroaching in on what you perceive to be yours and start taking ownership of it just naturally because you haven't set up that boundary. And you may not even know why you're frustrated. You may not even know why you might be getting a little bitter, why those emotions are coming out. But it's most likely due to a lack of boundaries.
Mm-hmm. So how do you think through, here's what I am, here are my responsibilities, here's the things that I have to bring. How do you do that in your life?
Yeah, I think it's one of two scenarios. One, you're experiencing those emotions because maybe you lacked boundaries where you should have had them, or maybe you have a friend or a family member that likes to, no matter whether or not you have boundaries and they've been properly set up, just trample over them, jump over those fence posts, if you will. You might be experiencing those emotions. So you're like, oh man, I need to reestablish or restate my boundaries. Or you're preemptively going in, like I mentioned before, okay, I know this is a crazy season and we need to make sure we set up some lines, some boundaries. So I think the first step is really to identify the conflict. Identify what's happening to you currently or what you're anticipating. And if you're married, this is an incredible conversation to have with your spouse.
Sure.
You've got to have the conversation with your spouse because you got to be on the same page. Because I mean, I'm guilty of this all the time. I say yes to everything. There's a party? Sure, yeah, we'll be there. My wife and I will be there, yeah. I'll say yes, and next thing I know, I've triple booked myself, and my wife doesn't even know what's happening, if anything's happening that day.
No one has a babysitter. No one's scheduled it.
No, thank God for my wife. We would be quite the crazy household if it was up to me and my scheduling abilities. But yeah, I think that's the second step is asking yourself, who or what do we need to say no to?
Yeah. So you basically, if I'm kind of getting what you're saying, is you really only... boundaries really only come up when you're starting to feel these emotions and you're starting to feel the pull and feeling run down or feeling any sort of bitterness or something coming up. But other than that, you're saying, hey, I'm just kind of like going by personality, right? Like I'm going to say yes, I'm going to go, I'm going to participate. But then when I start to feel these things, okay, I need to address it and I need to look at my boundaries. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yeah. And I think if you're not, because it's hard to say no. You have to practice saying no almost. Or else you just say yes, whether it be out of obligation, guilt. Maybe you feel like that's the best way to love that person. So you just say yes to everything. Then you go to those things and you are exhausted, you're frustrated, you're maybe even bitter, you're mad at that person, and you can't blame them. You know you only have yourself to blame, but you start shifting the blame a little bit because you're experiencing all these emotions at that party or at that event or at that tradition or at whatever it is that's fighting for your time. The sports leagues that all end up this year, the school graduations, it's never ending in December. And so you start to experience those emotions, and what it really is a lack of boundaries in your life, and really, I think, starts with learning how to say no.
Yeah, and even planning out too. I know that's one of the things because especially like if you're married or if you're dating, like you're going to want to do things with your family, but then your spouse or your significant other is going to also want to do things with their family.
Yeah.
So there has to be also to protect your boundaries and to even prevent some of those feelings of bitterness or anything like that. I think, planning ahead, having those conversations ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. And then like what you're saying, remembering your priorities in that conversation, who do we, if you're married, who do we have to see?
Yeah.
Because we want to. We want to spend time with these people. Okay, so that's what we're doing there. Then it's kind of journeying down the list of items and then challenging yourselves almost because it's a necessity to say no to something.
Have you found out a good way to tell people no without hurting their feelings? Because we don't want to hey, can you come to my party? Just be like, no, I can't.
No. No,
I'm answering your question. Can go to your party. No, I will not go to your party because I'm choosing to have a boundary with you, and I don't want to.
Yeah,
how do you say that?
I'm putting a fence up right now.
Yeah, you can't cross over.
These signals.
Yeah, how do you guys do that? How do you say no? How do you approach that when it is like, okay, I do need to say no to this?
Well, I think. As a pastor, I'm like, we got to normalize this in society. We got to normalize this in our church, right? But it should be normal for us to say, hey, I'm sorry, I can't. I have too much going on. I'm actually free that night, but it's the only night I have free. And if I don't have that night with my family, with my spouse, or to do something like for me, it's like I need some activity. I need to go play some basketball. I need to go to the gym or something like to de-stress, and like I need that time. That should be okay. Like if we're good friends, if we're loving family members, we should be supportive of that. Okay, you know what? I get that. That good for you for saying no to something.
Can I give you a difficult question then? Are you ready
Sure.
for it? Are you guys ready? Are you really?
I don't know that I am, but go for it.
So whenever we talk about boundaries, which I like talking about, and this is good advice and good things to do, right? But like, then I go and I read the scriptures, and the scriptures talk about like pouring ourselves out, and giving up of ourselves, and like the model of Jesus, right? They laid down his life for us. And so it's always hard for me to go there, to be like, hey, because it seems so small. Like, yeah, I can go to the family gather when I know that actually I really, really could use the rest. I could use a day, to go home and go to bed early, as boring as that sounds. Like, but I could use that. But it's hard for me because it feels like I'm choosing me over another person, and that seems a little bit at odds with what Jesus did. How do you think through that?
That's such a good question.
I mean, I would say like, hey, if you're to pour yourself out, you need to be filled, right? And if you're already on empty, then how are you going to love on that person or be present? Because there's one thing to be physically present, but if you're not present, like mentally, emotionally, or just even have a conversation, like how are you going to be present and how are you pouring yourself out? And one of the things for me is I always have to remember that rest is a gift from God. He wants us to rest. And so with us, it's always just like, because families always kind of will pull you, right? Your family, your spouse's family. And for us, like during the holidays, growing up, we always did Christmas Day. And then Jose's family, he's Colombian. And so he does, they do Christmas Eve. Well, then I get married, and then now they do Christmas Eve, and I'm like, what is going on here? I can't do this. I can't go from there to there.
Can't do both.
I can't go to Miami, and I can't be in the small town in Georgia. So what am I going to do?
Yeah.
And so what we had to remember was like in just how God built our family, right? Is he wants us to be first. So it's first God, then our spouse, then our children, and then it's our extended family. And so we had to do that and to pour out to them like we would want to be in Miami and we would want to be like in Georgia. But then we just had to like communicate, hey, we're going to be here. So for this year, we're going to be here, but then maybe for Thanksgiving, we'll be in Georgia. And so we just took turns.
Yeah. That almost makes it easier in a sense, right? Of like, hey, we can't physically be in two places at once, so we have to choose, I think it's the problem we run into is a lot of our family's local. And so we're just
same challenge,
making the rounds. And so like what we'll do is we'll try to be at everything, and we'll just be at everything for like half an hour, like we'll go and we'll say hello, and then I just ate 2 breakfasts and I'm getting a third breakfast, and you don't want to be rude, you're like, yes, you cooked all this food for us, here's a plate times. And like you just like you're there for 30 minutes, like, okay, we got to go again, the kids don't know where they are, they spend the day in the car, and it's just like it runs us down.
My wife and I had that same challenge and have done that, and we got to the point where we said no more, we can't. And everyone's different, but I told my wife, I'm like, I can't do the 4 Thanksgivings this time. Okay, I can't eat that much. I don't like running from place to place. I need my afternoon nap.
What's your limit?
I need to watch some football.
Is it 2 or 3
Thanksgivings?
2 is pushing it, but I'll do 2. Like I can't do that, and that was just a boundary we had to set and just say sorry. Like we can't be there.
There's nothing worse than showing up to Thanksgiving dinner completely full from your and then everyone prepared this feast for you.
We did that this past Thanksgiving,
and you're like, and you're just feeling so bad, and you're so full, and you're like, I can't eat anything else, and they prepared all this for us. Like that's the worst feeling in the world. So.
Yeah, and I think Angelica's spot on. Like that, remembering your priorities, and having that conversation with your spouse, and just you're gonna have to say no to some things, and you hear it's part of the golden rule, right? Love your neighbor as yourself. Self is a priority. And there are times when we need to lay down ourselves to love on someone else, but we can't always do that. And I think we think that's the most loving thing to do, to just do it for my mom, my dad, my in-laws, my grandparents, my friend. This is the most loving thing I can do. Well, it's not, because you're going to be there. You're going to be exhausted. You're going to leave in an hour, and you're just you might even be bitter, and it's not healthy. It's not helpful. Maybe instead have that conversation with them of, hey, I know it's not the same, but can we come the next day and spend all day with you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it should lead to good conversations like that. And it comes from a place of, I want to spend time with you.
Yeah.
I want it. I'm sorry, I just can't do that. And for me, what changed us, I don't know about you guys, but we have 2 little kids.
Yeah.
Moving 2 little kids over and over, like through all the different on a holiday, through all the different homes and stuff. It wasn't fun.
Yeah, and that has helped me too, because there are times where I'll go to like a holiday party or an event that we've said yes to too many things, and we'll know like, okay, we're gonna be able to be there, but then because of the kid's schedule or whatever, we need to leave really quickly afterwards. Yeah. And it's felt almost worse for the person than if, like, I've left parties before being like, we should have just said we can't make it, because that would have been better. They would have understood that more than us all showing up and then leaving, 15 minutes later, because you got to rush the kids back for, they got to go to bed or whatever, or you don't have a babysitter or whatever comes up. And so I get that. It kind of is more about priorities, trying to put yourself in the other person's perspective and trying to think through. So yeah, that's helpful.
Yeah, I think so. I think saying no is one of the most foundational, basic boundaries that we all should learn to get good at. I think as you grow older, as you grow in responsibilities and your work life, your family life, personal life, all that stuff, you need to get better and better at saying no. And then a couple other thoughts to throw in the mix there. The third thing, practice forgiveness. There's probably some people that have overstepped, but it's really on you because you didn't establish a healthy boundary in the first place. And maybe you're bitter towards them. Maybe you're frustrated with them. It might be a friend, a family member, whoever. We have to always practice forgiveness and recognizing, no, that's on me. And maybe you don't even need to communicate that with that person because you recognize that's on me. Going forward, I need to do a better job with it. Or maybe you do need to have a conversation, because we need to be constantly, constantly challenging ourselves to forgive those around us, make sure there's no bitterness, there's no ill will towards them. And that's what's going to lead to a healthy relationship with boundaries. So I think practicing forgiveness is something that we need to throw in the mix there. That's something that, depending on your relationship, you might be in that place. And then the last thing is lead with peace. A couple verses on that. Romans 12:18. If possible, so far as it depends on you. There's 2 qualifiers there. And I'll start over. If possible, so far as it depends on you, live peaceably with all. Live peaceably with all. That's the challenge. We're supposed to live peaceably with all. If possible, so far as it depends on you. And I think as far as it depends on you, that's that boundary, right? Like, okay, here's my boundary. They overstepped. I've established healthy boundaries. I've had conversations with them. Hey, I'm sorry I can't make it to your Christmas Eve party. I can't believe, why can't you make it to the Christmas? And they're all mad at you. Well, you've established a boundary. They're crossing over. You don't need to feel guilty. You don't need to think you did something wrong. You can lovingly respond, but this is a healthy boundary that's going to lead to a healthier relationship in the long run. Yeah. And so you can now walk away from that not feeling guilty, doing exactly what you should do. You, your family, your spouse, you're going to be in a healthier place because of it. Your relationship with that person in the long run will be in a healthier place because of it. And you're able to identify that.
Yeah, and I guess if it's based on priorities, and especially if you're talking about like you have some outside perspective, so maybe your spouse or a family member, that can be healthy and good. I think like we all have to manage our temperaments too, right? And so like if someone's mad at me, I'm going to internalize it and be like, well, what did I do wrong? Right. I'm going to take that. But then, I know there's other people who are like, oh, you're mad at me. That's not my problem. Like that's they're like, okay. And so maybe we need a little bit of outside perspective. And if it comes from a place of priorities and a place of health and a place of service, then we can feel good. Like if we've thought through why we have set no, or why we've set these boundaries, then we can feel a lot better about living with the results, I would think.
Yeah, that's excellent. And then also just mixing in that, like you said, everyone's different. So maybe your capacity to do 8 Christmas Day parties, I remember when I was single, I would do that. I would go to a bunch of different parties.
Just be out all day.
Yeah, why not?
Did you map it out according to where they lived or like what they were having?
would try.
You got to think about gas mileage.
try.
You got to think about
gas is expensive at that age. You're thinking about that
plan it a little
bit. Second verse to throw out there is Matthew 5:9. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called sons of God. So I think we need to lead with peace. We're called to be peacemakers. We should lead with grace and humility. We should seek to understand. If someone's intruding on those boundaries, what's at the root there? What's going on? Hey, why is it so important that I go to this party or be a part of this event? What's going on? And then maybe it brings you to a place where you're talking with yourself, you're talking with your spouse. Hey, I know it's going to be a lot, but let's just do it.
Yeah.
Let's just do it. Let's just, again, maybe this is a moment where we die to ourselves. We do this for that person. And there are those moments.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it's Christmas, the Christmas season. What's the most important thing? Well, Jesus. We're celebrating Jesus' birth. Secondly, we're getting time with family and friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that should be the goal. How can we get a bunch of time with our family and friends in this season? Because that's where we want to place value in this season. And that's not about the stuff. It's not about the gifts. It's not about giving gifts. It's not about receiving gifts. It's about getting time with people. And giving gifts is fun. It's beautiful. And all the church services, that's so important. But we need to spend time with people.
Sure.
And enjoy that season.
That's really good. That's really good. Well, I hope that this conversation has helped you guys figure out what you're going to do for this Christmas holiday and how you're going to spend it with your friends, your family, and your loved ones. But check us out next time on the City Rev Life podcast.
Thank you so much for listening to the City Rev Life podcast. Feel free to subscribe and leave a rate and review. We love it when you share with your friends on social media, so don't forget to tag us at cityrev.church. If you're interested in more resources, download our City Rev Church app and follow us on social media. Have a great day.